Hey, what's going on? My name's Vit, and in this video, we're going to be talking about Reaper. Yeah, I've been playing this job a bit these past few days at level 100 in some of the extremes here in Dawntrail, mainly extreme number 2, but I've been kind of on the fence about what job I wanted to play for Savage coming up in 2 weeks now, and I've been a long time Dragoon player, so the next logical step would be to play Dragoon and play Reaper, because they both share gear. They're both maiming jobs, and you know, I kind of just want to switch it up a little bit. I've been playing a lot of Dragoon recently at the end of Endwalker, into the start of this expansion as well, and I just want to change a pace, honestly. I'm still going to be playing a lot of Dragoon. I'm fully committing to Dragoon and now Reaper for Savage at this point. I've finally made up my mind. But yeah, no, I've been trying to learn Reaper these past few days because I have actually really never played this job before in any meaningful capacity. I've never done Extreme on it. I've never done Savage or Ultimate on it. And, you know, I leveled it in Endwalker, gave it a shot, tried it out, knew how it worked, like hit some striking dummies, learned the rotation and everything, but I never actually played it in any serious sense. So that's what I've been up to this past, you know, the past three days or so, just playing some Reaper here and there. I've still only done like maybe 5 clears on it total of the extremes. And it's pretty funny because, like I just said, I haven't even played it. I'm still learning it, but it's already outperforming my Dragoon. Like, I've been playing Dragoon since the start of Endwalker. I've, you know, over 1,000 hours on it, I'm sure. And 3 pulls on Reaper, and I'm already doing better than my Dragoon. So I don't know what that says about Reaper. Maybe that it's a little bit on the easier side, personally. For me, at least. I definitely looked up, you know, the opener, how to do the 2-minute burst where on Reaper you have to fit 2 enshrouds under Arcane Circle, and our new ability Perfectio, you have to fit that under Arcane Circle as well. So the burst got a bit more complicated, and where Dragoon is just press all your buttons, under buffs, make sure everything's under buffs, there's really no planning to it. But on Reaper, it feels like it's a little bit more methodical when you're going about your burst window. At least your 2-minute burst window. The 1-minute burst window, you just go into Enshroud and that's it. So like the 2-minute window on Reaper is fairly complex and slightly unintuitive, but once you get it, it's not bad. I'm at the point where I think I just have to build up more muscle memory and it'll start feeling like second nature to me. It's already feeling very comfortable now that I've been messing with it more. But yeah, I don't know. It's like outside of that 2-minute burst, you're doing nothing on Reaper. You're just doing 1, 2, 3, building gauge, and, you know, spending it on Gallows and Gibbet to build your blue gauge. And it's just very simple. And when comparing it to Dragoon, which is kind of what we have to do here, you also have a personal shield, which when it breaks, it has a heal over time. And that's a 10% shield every 30 seconds. So Reaper is looking very valuable when it comes to me doing my Savage prog in Party Finder in 2 weeks. It's just looking more and more appealing because, you know, outside of burst, I can just take my time thinking about mechanics more. There's less you have to think about when you're not in your 2-minute window. I think the 2-minute window for me is a little bit harder on Reaper just because I don't have that muscle memory yet. So there's kind of a trade-off there. Having to cast Communio as well, like your burst window is so kind of strict that like you're forced into casting those Communios when you are. So hopefully you don't have to move at all. So if there's a lot of movement, I might not find Reaper super fun, but I don't know. I'm sure there's workarounds. I haven't really figured it all out yet. Like I said, I've done like 5 pulls on Reaper, so I am by no means an expert. But again, it's not a small amount that it's doing better than my Dragoon is. It's like 1,500, like 1,000 DPS difference. And it's easier to execute. And I've got a personal mitigation, and yeah, it's looking like I'm going to be playing some Reaper, just because I want something different. Don't get me wrong, Dragoon is still very good, but Reaper's just looking really appealing. So it's nice to have the option to do both. I still need to get more practice in on Reaper, because I definitely don't have the muscle memory. I am not comfy on this job. I don't know how to recover when I make any mistakes, whereas on Dragoon, it's like super simple to get back into the flow of things if you screw up. Reaper, if you die and like lose all your blue gauge, I haven't figured out what to do about that yet, so I feel like I'm not going to be as consistent on Reaper, even though it's feeling a bit easier. So I don't know. Lots to figure out, but let's actually talk about some impressions of the new abilities that we got. So I can pull up the actions and traits here. We can just look at some of our new abilities, since they're not all on the bar here. Actually, none of them are. They all replace old abilities, so you don't actually have to change your hotbar layout at all with level 100 Reaper, which is nice compared to level 90. And it's funny because Reaper didn't feel like a complete job until you hit level 90. Like anything below that, when you don't have Communio, it just feels like nothing's going on with this job. But at level 90, it was very solid, albeit maybe a bit slower paced than some of the other melees. But again, it's more methodical with having to plan out your burst window. But now at level 100, I think they added some stuff that really helps it feel a little more complete. First of all, they added this button, Sacrificium, which is just an off-global cooldown ability that you are allowed to press when you're under Enshroud. So whenever you go into your Enshroud window, you basically just have one extra button to weave, and this is just a big 530 potency ability. You weave it in between all your Enshroud abilities. You also have two other things to weave in there, being your Lemur's Slices, I believe they're called. I'm still really bad with the Reaper ability names, so bear with me. But yeah, you've got like 3 things to weave in your Enshroud windows now, which is interesting because your GCD speeds up quite a lot and you can only single weave during those windows. So you've got to kind of plan out where to put that. A lot of the time when you go into Enshroud, you can just immediately weave that Sacrificium. Not during your 2-minute window, but on your 1-minute windows you can do that, and in your opener. Because your 2-minute windows, you just have to start your Enshroud a little differently before going into the full Enshroud combo. So it works a little different. We'll get into that at the end. We'll go hit a striking dummy at the end and show the actual rotation. But yeah, I don't know. Sacrificium is just a nice little addition that makes your Enshroud combo, your Enshroud window, whatever you want to call it, feel a little more interesting, in my opinion. It makes you have to think about where to weave things in that tight window, where you only have a limited number of weave slots available to you. So yeah, no, that's a nice addition. Then we've got Executioner's Gibbet and Gallows. These are just flat upgrades to Gibbet and Gallows when you're under Gluttony. So every minute when you press Gluttony, you get an upgraded Gibbet and Gallows now. They used to be Baja Blast colored, now they're normal Mountain Dew colored. They just do more damage, that's it. It's a pretty big upgrade, honestly. They're doing 820 potency now per hit, so every minute you're getting like an extra 400 potency or something now. Yeah, so Reaper just got like a lot of potency tacked on to their 2-minute rotation. It's something ridiculous. It's over like 3,000 potency that was added between level 90 and 100. Like Sacrificium is 530 and you get this 3 times every 2 minutes if you're doing your Enshrouds correctly. You get an extra 200 potency on each of these, upgraded over their old version. They do 820 each, but I believe the old ones did 620. So yeah, just a 200 potency increase on both of these. Executioner's Guillotine is just the AoE version of that, so we won't worry about that. Obviously, it's cool for dungeons. A lot of this stuff, all the new abilities are AoE. Obviously not Gibbet and Gallows, but Sacrificium and Perfectio are AoE. They cleave as well, so got a lot of damage in the dungeons. But then, yeah, Perfectio is your level 100 ability, and this is just flat 1200 potency. And you're able to use this after Communio during your 2 minutes. So every time you press Arcane Circle, the next Enshroud window has a Perfectio at the end. So you only get one of these every 2 minutes, but it's still a nice satisfying button. And when you get it right, and when you fit it with the double Enshroud under your Arcane Circle is about to fall off. It's got like 1 second left on it, and you have to squeeze that Perfectio out. It's very satisfying when you do it correctly, especially later into a fight when like you've had to play perfectly up until that point. You set up all your burst windows perfectly, and it's just a really satisfying feeling. Now that like I've again just learned how to do this double Enshroud window, this is all very new to me, so I don't know. I'm just now realizing that Reaper's kind of fun, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I think these new additions just made it more satisfying to play. Like when I go into Gluttony and hit these upgraded Gibbet and Gallows, like, I don't know, the animations look really cool, where I personally didn't like Reaper's animations very much, at least at level 90. It was always a bit too edgy for me, but these upgraded Gibbet and Gallows, the Executioner's Gibbet and Gallows, I think they look really cool. Sacrificium, I'm kind of on the fence about. I don't really care for the look of this animation, but whatever. Perfectio looks sweet. When you press in Sacrificium, you've got all your other Enshroud buttons going off at the same time, so it's just like a flash of like edgy red spell effects going on, so it kind of fits right in with all that stuff. But I don't know, I really like the additions. I'm thinking Reaper is in a really good spot. Like I said, damage wise, like if I'm gonna play a more meta job, it's not Dragoon, it is Reaper. It is just better for prog. It's slower paced, it gives you more time to think. You do have some cast times, but Dragoon also has, you know, animation locks with some of the jumps. You've got a personal, which is really nice. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. There's not much to think about with Reaper. It's literally just going into your 2 minute burst at the right time and setting it up correctly, timing everything right. Keeping up Shadow of Death and Death's Design, which is like a Vuln debuff. But you basically just apply this before going into your burst every minute, and there's not much to think about with it. And then just don't overcap your red gauge, spend all your red gauge to get your blue gauge, and that's Reaper. So I don't know, it's a pretty simple job, and over the course of what, 3 days now, a couple of party finders worth of VX2, I feel like I've got a really good grasp on it, and I still do need more practice on it, but it's been a lot of fun playing this job, which at level 90 was not the case for me. I had never felt inclined to play this job. For a lot of Endwalker's raid tiers, my co-melee was playing Reaper when I was on Dragoon, so there was no incentive for me to play it, but now I'm going to be raiding in Party Finder, so I'll be able to freely swap between the two whenever I want. So I'm going to be playing more Reaper this raid tier, I guess, and we'll see how that goes. So let's just jump over to Stone Sky Sea and do a quick look at the rotation and the opener, the burst window, and some of the filler in between. But yeah, let's go do that now. Alright, here we are at Stone Sky Sea on Reaper, and we're just going to go through the rotation and get a look at how it works. So we've already prepped Solso to get our free Harvest Moon use. You can basically just use this whenever. It's a ranged attack, so if you have to disengage, you can always use that. We'll just have to remember to put it in whenever. But yeah, we're going to use Harp, dash in, apply Death's Design, immediately potion, and then go straight into our burst. You got a little positional at the start there, but you can always true north that if you feel so inclined. Straight into the first Enshroud window, under Arcane Circle, so you get that Perfectio right off the start. And then you're going to have to refresh Death's Design right after your opener as well. That falls off just as your opener's finishing up. But then you're basically just in maintenance mode. You can spend your gauge as needed. The cool thing about Reaper is that like all the positionals, like they're pretty flexible in that you can kind of use them whenever you want. So I always try to go into Enshroud with about 4 seconds left. That lets you apply Death's Design twice. 4 seconds left on Death's Design, that is. Lets you apply it twice, and that's one of the key components to setting up your 2-minute burst correctly. There's definitely some delays that you have to do there, and again, we'll get into that once I can, once I'm less focused on doing this correctly here at the end. But as you can see, when you're not in burst, it's incredibly chill. I'm just pressing 1, 2, 3 right now, spending gauge when it's available. And then when you do spend your gauge, you get a positional to follow up, so you can kind of choose when to spend that gauge, and we'll use Harvest Moon here. There's no other good time in this trial to use it, so... Again, we've got about 10 seconds left on Death's Design, and a couple more GCDs. We will go into our Enshroud. Usually do it after this second GCD. So I Enshroud, reapply Death's Design, do the first hit of your Enshroud combo, Death's Design again, and then put up Arcane Circle. Finish out that combo, Plentiful Harvest, and immediately you can go into your next Enshroud, and then you can actually fit everything under buffs. We've got 2 seconds left and just barely made it. And then right there we had a Gluttony, and then I would have had Executioner's Gallows and Gibbet come up right there at the end, but we finished the trial before that could happen, so I had another, you know, 1600 potency coming up right there as well. But I don't know, it's feeling very satisfying. I mentioned I would explain the double Enshroud window. I kind of did it on the fly, but that was very fast. Let me wait for these rocks to fall off here for the Executioners. It's going to be kind of hard to see because you don't have all the abilities here. I guess I can pull up the actions and traits menu to help explain this a bit. But for your double Enshroud window, again, when you have about 4 seconds left on Death's Design, you can go into Enshroud. This is again with Arcane Circle just about to come up in your rotation. So 4 seconds left, your buff's about to come up. You go into Enshroud early, and then you have to do a little bit of filler to get that second Enshroud to line up correctly, because this Enshroud does have a 15-second recast. So you have to go into it early, kill a bit of time for that recast cooldown to be up in time to fit everything in. This is not the best explanation, but basically go in with 4 seconds left, do a Shadow of Death, do your first hit of your Enshroud combo, whether that's Cross Reaping or Void Reaping, whichever one. Do another Shadow of Death. You'll have a full 60 seconds on your Vuln debuff at that point. And then you can finish out that Enshroud combo. You've already done the first hit, so you just do the second hit. Then you get a proc of Lemure's Slice. Do the... what's that? The third hit. You can weave Sacrificium. Do the fourth hit. Weave another Lemure's Slice. Communio. And then you can immediately afterwards do Plentiful Harvest. Your second Enshroud. Repeat the process. And then after the next Communio, fit that Perfectio under buffs perfectly. So... that's the gist of how to do double Enshroud. I don't know if that's clear. If it's not, you can go back and watch the rotation, rewind it, pause it, whatever you need to do. But yeah, you can also look on the balance. They have a very good explanation of how it all works. A good infographic that I can maybe put on screen even, or link below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Reaper. I've been really having a lot of fun with this job. It's very satisfying to do it right. It's very easy for me at this point in my learning and my experience with the job to screw it up. So I've got a lot of work to do, but I've been having a blast with this, and it does insane damage. I think Reaper is like the 3rd or 4th highest damaging job in the game. It's one of the top damage melees, only beaten out by Samurai and Viper, who are both selfish DPSs, where Reaper does have a party buff. It's only 3%, but it's something, so still brings a bit more to the table than those other two jobs. It all balances out. I mean, they're all doing insane damage right now. So Reaper is just looking very solid for the start of Savage. We'll see if it gets any changes, but I doubt it. Reaper's in a pretty comfy spot. We'll see if Dragoon gets any buffs or anything for the launch of the Savage raids, but I'm not getting my hopes up, so I'm getting some practice in for now. And again, this is not about Reaper is just flat out better than Dragoon. I mean, it is at this point, but that's not why I'm playing it. I've just been kind of tired playing the same job so much. I've been looking for something different, so I've always got Dragoon I can fall back on. I may even start out on Dragoon, I don't know. Because it is my comfy job, it's what I'm most familiar with, and I don't know. It's always good to have a second option, and having both of these jobs share a gear set, they'll both be geared at the same time. I'm already committing to Reaper and Dragoon because I've been buying the normal raid gear, which has a weekly lock on it. You can only get so much of that leading up to Savage, so I've already started investing in this. I will say the one thing, the skill speed is so bad right now. I'm at 2.45 recast, 2.45 second GCD, and I'm using the same gear on my Dragoon, and on Dragoon it's so bad. So right now my gear is more set up for Reaper. You know, you can still get by on Dragoon with a faster skill speed, but it doesn't feel great. Your buffs start to clip your GCD at really awkward times, and it delays some things. So it's not good. I'd probably have to redo some melds if I want to play Dragoon. Right now I'm just set up for Reaper, but that's stuff you can always swap pretty easily, more easily than acquiring new gear for a different job, so I don't know. It's a bit awkward playing right now. I'm at 2.45 seconds, and that's faster than you want to be on Reaper, but by the time Savage comes out, I should be at least to 2.46, which apparently things line up in the rotation a bit better. So right now, both of these jobs are a little awkward for me with the strange GCD skill speeds that we're working with the gear. Gear, this expansion has been all over the place with some of the substats. It's really hard to piece together a good set of gear on many jobs right now, so Reaper and Dragoon are definitely feeling that with the skill speed on a lot of the pieces, but it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, I would prefer a 2.5 second on Dragoon, and I think Reaper prefers, it used to be 2.9 maybe, but I don't know. 2.46 is workable, so we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. Savage is coming up soon, so I'll be playing a lot more of these. I'll be making videos, I'm sure, about that experience, so we'll hear back. I've got more jobs that I've already leveled to make videos about. I've been playing all these jobs in Extreme. Dark Knight, Ninja, obviously Reaper, Dragoon, but Bard. I've even cleared EX1 on Sage. That was a fun experience. I'm not much of a healer, but, you know, I've got a lot of thoughts about a lot of these jobs, so I'll be sure to keep making these videos if you guys are enjoying them, and let me know if you are. But yeah, I don't know. Over the next couple weeks, I will be streaming as well. My experience learning more Reaper, practicing it more, playing some Dragoon as well, and then obviously we've got the Savage Raid here in 2 weeks, so lots to look forward to, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see any of that stuff. Head over to Twitch and give me a follow over there if you want to catch any of that live. But that's going to do it for this video. Reaper's very fun, and that's news to me apparently, so I'm looking forward to this raid tier. The normal raids were a blast. I just did those on my Twitch stream last night, so that was a lot of fun. We had everybody from Discord in there doing those fights with us. So if you want to get involved in some of that stuff, head over to Discord, head over to the Twitch channel, and check it out, because we're going to be playing together throughout the entire expansion. So if you want to get in, be sure to check the links in the description. Sub to the YouTube channel if you want to see more of this stuff, and I will catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.
Has many uses. Watch and learn! that massive cannon. Her skills are as sharp as ever. A vicious blow! Oh, that'll leave a mark.
Take this! If one needs wings, one needs simply nature.
She's great wings! Ha! How wickedly divine!